Efuru by Flora Nwapa. Chapter 2. Life in the farm was becoming unbearable. Adizwa no longer worked as hard as before. In the morning, he slept while others went to work. When they had done more than 2 hours' work, he came to work and left the farm before everybody else. He was so lazy that his neighbors gossiped. "Why does Adizwa's wife not work in the farm with her husband?" one asked. "The farm is not meant for her. Have I not told you that she is so beautiful? If I were Adizwa, I would not stay in the farm. What's the point of dreaming about your wife? You can dream about a woman friend or another man's wife, but definitely not your own wife. Adizwa is stupid. Every morning you see him sharpening his knife, but he will not work." Adizwa went to town very often. He had not the courage to tell his wife that she was responsible for his laziness. The young wife did not understand either. But when in a week he came to the town twice, Efuru became apprehensive and asked him why he came home so frequently. Adizwa told her. He told her he would like to stay in town with her and not go back to the farm. He told her that the people in the farm were unfriendly to him and that he did not want to farm any longer. He did not tell her that he thought of her so much that he no longer wished to be away from her. "In that case," she said to him, "I would like you to leave the farm, but you have to wait until the harvest, and after that you can come to town. Both of us can trade together." So after the harvest, Adizwa left the farm for good. His harvest was of course very poor. His fellow farmers laughed at him and said unkind words behind his back. He did not make any profit at all, but his wife consoled him. "Never mind," she said. "What matters is health. Once you are healthy, money will come." Efuru and her husband traded in yams. They would paddle a canoe from their town to a tributary of the great river and thence to Abo. There they bought yams and other things rare in their town and sold them at a profit. When the yam trade was bad, they traded in dry fish and crayfish. It was in crayfish that they made their fortune. They were the first to discover the trade that year. The place where they bought the crayfish was 3 days' journey on the great river. It was a risky business. Thieves could waylay traders and rob them of their money. The river could be rough, and when that happened, their canoe could capsize. When they got to the place, they bought crayfish in bags. Then they paddled back and sold the crayfish, making a profit of over 100%. 4 trips gave Efuru and her husband a huge profit. The 5th trip was not so bad. Many women had got to know about the business and had rushed into it and spoiled it. It was by sheer luck that Efuru and her husband recovered their capital. "We won't go again," she told her husband. "Yes, we won't go again. But what are we going to do?" "We are going to look for another trade. These women spoil trade so easily. When they see you making a profit in one trade, they leave the trade they know and join yours, and of course, in no time, it is no longer profitable. So we shall look for another thing to do. But we have to go to my father now that we have money. What day can we fix it? Let's have it on Eke day. Today is Eke. In 4 days we shall go." "That is good. Now what about your people? Your father's brother is in the farm. Somebody should be asked to go for him. You told me he is the eldest in the family." "Yes, he will be sent for," Adizwa said. Efuru's father was happy when he was told that his daughter's husband was coming to see him. He called his people together and told them, "We shall receive them very well." One of the elders said, "It is true that they have angered us." Others spoke in this vein, and they all agreed to receive them. Meanwhile, Efuru and her mother-in-law went to the market and bought the best cola they could find. Then they went to the shops and bought 6 bottles of schnapps. Then they went to a woman nearby and bought a big jar of homemade gin. The men were responsible for buying palm wine, So Adizwa was in charge of that, and he bought many kegs. Before it was evening, Efuru went to her father's house and waited for her husband's people to come. At night, Adizwa and his people took all they had bought to Efuru's father's house. Many young men were there, including Adizwa's uncle. At Nwashike Ogene's house also, young men from the family assembled. Adizwa's uncle led the way. He went straight to the Obi of Nwashike Ogene. Oshia Mazi Obuke. He greeted the people, and all in turn greeted, bowing their heads to the ground to Nwashike Ogene. They were asked to sit down. Kola was brought, and afterwards, Adizwa's uncle stood up to tell them the object of their visit. Oshia Mazi Obuke, our people, welcome to you. Nwashike Ogene, we have come to see you this night. Our grandfather said that he who disowns his daughter or his son is a fool. You can ask an adulterous wife to pack and go to her mother, and she can pack and go and get married to someone else who gives you back your dowry, and thus the relation is severed. It is true, those present said. But Nwashike Ogene, you cannot disown your child, because forever and forever she will be your child. God has given it to you. Your wife conceived her in her womb, and therefore she is yours forever. It is true, the others said. But Nwashike Ogene, you have the right to be angry. Adizwa's father would not have allowed this if he were alive. I was not in town when it happened. When I heard it, I came at once to town, and there was nothing I could do about it. Adizwa's mother was there, no doubt, but what can a woman do? When I came back from the farm, I told Adizwa that he must do something about our custom. If not, our ancestors would be angry with us and cause ill to befall us. He told me his difficulty. Everybody experiences it at one time or the other. God has blessed the two young people. Your daughter has brought luck into our family. That is what happened. That is how it happened, the men said. Nwashike Ogene, your daughter is the best of women. She came to live with us just after the planting season. This is another planting season. Since then, we have never seen okazi leaves on her teeth. In short, our people, she is a good woman. We have come to fulfill the customs of our people. Nwashike, don't be angry with the young people. They are young, and youth intoxicates like our homemade gin. Our people, thank you very much. Oshia Mazi Obuke. Efuru's father could not hide his happiness. Our people, welcome, he began. I thank you for coming this night. I was angry when my daughter ran away from my house. Any father has a right to be angry, and I am no exception. I sent my people, but they did nothing. Efuru is my dear daughter, the only child of my favorite wife. As you know, I inherited all the wives of my father, but Efuru's mother was my choice. I love her very much. After a long time, she had Efuru. Then 6 years ago, she died. I was heartbroken. Efuru was my only source of happiness. To cut a long story short, I am glad you have come. Welcome. Someone else wanted to speak. When he got up, he said that Adizwa was not going to be let off easily. He must pay a fine. Others agreed that he should pay a fine. You are to give Efuru's father a bottle of schnapps now, Adizwa's uncle said. Adizwa went out and was making for home, when Efuru called him and gave him some money instead. So he gave the money to Efuru's father in place of the bottle of schnapps. We shall start now. There is no question about asking Efuru whether we are to drink the wine or not, but we have to do what our people do, the father said. So Efuru was called. My daughter, this is the wine your husband's people have brought. Should we drink or should we not drink? The people laughed. That question does not apply. Efuru had demonstrated to the world that she was very happy to marry Adizua. The people drank, schnapps was poured in a glass and given to Adizua to drink. Whilst he sipped it, Efuru was called. She was given the glass by her husband, and when she was about to drink, the people shouted, kneel down, you are a woman." Efuru quickly knelt down and drank and left immediately. As they were drinking, the dowry was fixed, and Adizua's people paid everything there. They drank, and when the ceremony came to an end, Efuru's father called her and her husband and blessed them and gave them some words of advice. They went home, and for the first time since that fateful Nkwo day, the two felt really married. A year passed and no child came. Efuru did not despair. "I am still young. Surely God cannot deny me the joy of motherhood," she often said to herself. But her mother-in-law was becoming anxious. She loved her daughter-in-law very much. She defended her anywhere she heard people say unkind words about her. When Efuru was sad, she consoled her, told her that a child would come when God willed it. Neighbors talked as they were bound to talk. They did not see the reason why Adizua should not marry another woman, since, according to them, two men do not live together. To them, Efuru was a man, since she could not reproduce. Efuru was very worried in the second year of her marriage. "My mother had only me," she said one night to herself. "My father told me so, and also that she found it difficult to become pregnant. Am I going to be like my mother? But if I'm going to be like her, then I too will have a daughter like her. But what if that is denied me? What if that also is denied me? What will I do? Oh, what will I do?" she wept. Efuru did not sleep that night. Early in the morning, before the cock crew, she got up, dressed, and went to her father. She opened her heart to her father. "Something must be done, my daughter. It is not in our blood. Our women are reproductive. There must be a reason for this. We shall see a Dibia." Efuru and her old father went to see a Dibia. He was a very old and dirty man. He was almost blind and was unable to walk. His two granddaughters lived with him and ran errands for him. They were sent to the bush to collect some leaves or roots, to the market to buy things required for medicine, and they cooked for him. It was understood that they would not live with him when they were over 14. When Efuru and her father entered the compound, the Dibia shouted, "Mwashike Ogene, I am happy you are coming today with your daughter, but I won't see you today because your daughter is menstruating. My medicines will be ineffective if she comes nearer. When she finishes, bring her to me." Efuru was spellbound. "How did he know?" she asked her father. "He is a Dibia," was the old man's reply. "Oh, why did I not think of him all these years?" her father said to himself. 5 days after, Efuru and her father went again to the Dibia. "Adobe," the Dibia called one of his grandchildren, "bring a mat for these people." A mat was spread on a mud bench in the room, and the two visitors sat down. "Njeri, bring cola." The girl, thus addressed, went in and brought some cola in a saucer. "Cola has come," the Dibia said. "Cola is yours," Efuru's father said. The Dibia took the cola and broke it. There were only 3 pieces. He looked at the pieces closely and shook his head. Njeri passed the cola to our visitors. "Didi, won't you have one first?" Njeri asked. "You ignorant, foolish and stupid girl. A goat sucked your breast. Don't you understand? Pass the cola to our visitors before I give you a slap equal to you." When they finished the cola, the Dibia cleared his throat. "I am sorry about your daughter, Nwashike, but you have to come in good time. Your daughter is not barren. She will have a baby next year if she will only do what I am going to ask her to do." Again, She has not got many children in her womb. Some women are like that. It is not their fault. It is not God's fault either. Father and daughter were astonished. How did you know the object of our visit? Efuru ventured to ask. The old man laughed. You are children. You cannot understand. You will not understand. Mwashike, this is what your daughter would do every Afo day. She is to sacrifice to the ancestors. It is not much, but she will have to do it regularly. Every Afo day, she is to buy oziza, alligator pepper, and kola from the market. Oziza must be bought every Nkwo day from a pregnant woman. Every Afo day before the sun goes down or when the sun is here. And he pointed to the direction. She must put these things in a small calabash and go down to the lake. There she will leave the calabash to float away. So, go home, young woman, and be cheerful. Next year, during the Owu festival, if nothing happens to you, come back to me. Go in peace. What is your charge? Efuru's father asked. Charge? Oh yes, charge. All right, if you want it that way, I want a head of tobacco. That's all I want, only a head. Don't bring two, because I won't know what to do with two. My roof is leaking and rain will spoil the second one. Adizo was delighted to hear everything Efuru had to tell him when he returned from Abo. I am happy that you went to see the man, but please don't think that it makes any difference to me whether you have a baby or not. You know I will be the last person to do anything that will hurt you, my wife. You know I cannot exchange you with a wife who would give me 20 sons. Efuru was happy because she had so much faith in what the Dibia had told her and did not worry so much about her state. But her mother-in-law was still worried, and when she couldn't bear it no longer, she went to her son. What are you going to do about Efuru's state? Something is being done, my mother. We shall soon know the results. I am glad to hear this. I was going to suggest you marry another woman, a woman who will give you children. It is going to be with the consent of Efuru, of course. About 3 months passed after Efuru's visit to the Dibia, and nothing happened. She started to despair again, so one night she called her husband. It does not seem as if anything will happen before Owu festival. I am losing hope again. Don't you think it will be better if you begin to look around for a young girl for a wife? Not yet, my wife. The Owu festival is still not come. Let us wait till it comes. The Owu festival at last, and Efuru enjoyed it very much. She went out with all the women, and as they were watching the Owu dancing, she saw her mother-in-law's sister, Ajanupu. So this is your eyes, Efuru. Trade does not allow you to see anybody these days. Aha, Ajanupu Ndeno. Oh, my daughter, Ngononako, how is your mother-in-law? She is well, and your son? My son is well now, but he had another attack of convulsion. Thank God he is well. This year's Owu festival is not as interesting as last year's, Ajanupu said. Yes, last year's was wonderful. I enjoyed every bit of it. Look at that one dancing. He is dancing very well. I like his mask. He must belong to a wealthy man. That's right. I know the owner. It is owned by Okam. He is the best. It is very refreshing to see really good ones. When I was a young woman, Ajanupu went on, Owu festival really used to be Owu festival. None of us young girls cooked for our mothers. We dressed gorgeously and watched the dancers till the end of the day. Has your daughter-in-law told you anything? Ajanupu asked her sister the following morning. No, she hasn't. What happened? She has not mentioned anything to you about her health. No, she has not. Is anything wrong? She does not know then. And you haven't noticed anything yourself? No, I have not. You are just a woman for nothing. You can't see. You can't even hear smell. Your daughter-in-law is pregnant. Efuru is pregnant? Orisha, thank you. She raised her two hands to the sky, then knelt down and bowed her head, knocking it on the floor of the room, thanking Orisha, who is God. How did you know that, Ajanupu? Are you quite sure? We watched the Owu dancing yesterday for nearly 2 hours. She was close to me, and there is no mistake about it. I smelt it. She has missed her period. She may not know herself, Ajanupu said confidently. God, thank you. Thank you, God. My daughter will have a baby at last. My daughter is not barren after all. My enemies will no longer rejoice. God, thank you. I am going, Osai. See your daughter when I am away and look after her well. The next day, Efuru's mother-in-law called her. How are you feeling, my daughter? Does your body communicate anything to you? I don't understand, mother. You children don't understand our language. All right, I shall say it in plain language. Have you missed your period? No, it is not time yet. Have you counted well? Yes, I have counted well. When will you see it then? On our 4th day. All right, come and tell me when you see it. On our 4th day, Efuru saw nothing. She told her mother-in-law, who began to dance. God heard me. God has heard me. My daughter, you are pregnant. My sister Ajanupu told me. But I saw her only on that festival for a few hours, and I did not tell her anything. Yes, you did not know, but she knew it. She smelt it. I am so glad. They agreed not to tell her this all until they were quite sure. 4 months later, it was quite obvious that Efuru was expecting a baby. The neighbors knew it and talked of it. It was at this time that Adizwa knew of it and asked Efuru, who confirmed it. Efuru was very happy. She was even more beautiful now. She was fairer, robust, and fresh. Many men envied her husband. Women were jealous of her beauty. Her mother-in-law delightfully spoiled her. She bought her delicacies on Nkwo days. She petted her. She did not want her to cook. She did all the cooking and the housework herself. One day, Ajanupu came to see her. They were eating ogbono soup. God forbid, she shouted. Osai, ignorance will kill you one day. Why do you allow your daughter-in-law to eat ogbono soup? Don't you know that ogbono is not good for an expecting mother? Ajanupu, my sister, I did not know. And what about okra? Is it bad too for her health? Yes, okra is not good. Snail is not good also. If she eats snail, her baby will have plenty of saliva. Before Ajanupu went home, she listed all the don'ts of a pregnant woman. She was not to go out alone at night. If she must go out, then somebody must go with her, and she must carry a small knife. When she is sitting down, nobody must cross her leg. Meanwhile, Efuru did all that Dibia had told her. Every day, she bought the things she was told to buy and did as she was told. At the 7th month, Efuru noticed that her legs were swollen. She told her mother-in-law, who immediately told her sister. She came and looked at it and went away without saying anything. The next day, she brought some leaves and some palm wine. She also brought a new clay pot. She cooked the leaves, adding a little palm wine. When she finished, she gave some to Efuru, pouring some palm wine in it. Every morning and night, you warm it over a slow fire, put some palm wine in it and drink. When the palm wine is finished, buy another one from the market. Don't buy ngwo, you must buy nkwo. Efuru kept to the instructions religiously. The medicine worked. She discovered that she urinated more and that her legs and feet were no longer swollen. She had no troubles after that. Her health was good, and she went on with her trade, though her husband told her not to exert herself. Then one day, her mates came for her. They told her that one of their age group was performing the ceremony of the second burial of her father, and so they must go and dance with her. Efuru went with them. They danced all day. In the evening, when she did not come back, her mother-in-law went in search of her. She saw her still dancing and begged her to go with her. Efuru did not want to go then and told her mother so. "No, my daughter, you have to come with me. Your husband is very angry with you." "Is it true? Then I must go home immediately." "Anama nako ideno." She greeted them. "I must go now. You can understand." "It is true you must go," the leader of the group said. When Adizwa returned and was told that his wife was not at home, he had his bath and went out. But when he came back again and saw that his wife was not home yet, he became very angry. He sat on a stretcher outside, thinking and shaking his legs. As he was thinking of what he was going to do to Efuru when she came back, he heard a sweet voice from afar. "My dear husband, don't kill me. My dear husband, don't kill me. Listen to me first before you pass your judgment. My dear husband, forgive me. My dear husband, don't kill me. Let me tell you how we danced. Let me tell you how we danced. My dear husband, my love is true. My dear husband, I am constant. My dear husband, don't be angry. I went to dance with my mates." Adizwa was completely disarmed. By the time she finished, she was near her husband. "Oh, are you home already, Adizwa? I must be very late. Did you miss me? Has my mother given you food to eat? Mother, have you given my husband something to eat?" "I have eaten something, but where did you go?" Efuru told him. He said nothing more. That night, Efuru did not sleep. She tossed in bed. Then she felt some pains, very sharp pains. She woke her mother-in-law. Her husband was sleeping very soundly. "I must go and call Ajanupu. I know nothing about these things," the old woman said as she went to call her sister. Ajanupu came with her immediately. "Lie down," she commanded Efuru. "Yes, that's it. That's the head. Good. Thank God. Now you are to do exactly as I tell you. If you are afraid, you will have a weak and sickly baby. If you do exactly as I tell you, you will have a strong and healthy baby. All right, now press hard. Osai, get some water boiling. She will soon have the baby. Good. You are a good child. Don't cry. Don't shout. If you cry or shout, you will continue crying and shouting each time you have your baby." Efuru was good. She was strong and she was not afraid. She did as she was told. In about half an hour, she delivered her baby, a baby girl. Single-handed, Ajanupu attended to both mother and child. It was so easy for her. One would think that she was a trained midwife. She had 8 children. One had died of convulsion. It was only the first and the second that she was helped to deliver. All the others she delivered herself. There was unusually nobody around when she had her babies. She would have her baby all alone, washed it and washed herself before anybody knew what was happening. Neighbors only knew when a newly born baby began to cry. So it was a joy to her delivering Efuru's baby. When the baby did not cry at once, she took hold of its 2 legs, lifted it in the air and shook it until it cried. She washed and tidied everything. "Now, Efuru, you put your legs together. Don't leave them apart, so that you will be able to walk properly in future." She gave her a piece of chewing stick to chew. Efuru's mother-in-law was busy getting everything ready. "Now, Osai, you will be very hungry. Go and cook something for her to eat. Pounded yam and nsala soup will be alright. Put plenty of pepper, for her stomach is cold. The soup must be steaming hot. Efuru lay there thinking of it all. Is this happening to me or someone I know? Is that baby mine or somebody else's? Is it really true that I have had a baby, that I am a woman after all? Perhaps I am dreaming. I shall soon wake up and discover that it is not real. As she was thinking those thoughts, she heard a knock on the door. "Come in," she said. It was her husband. "It's a baby girl. Orisha has done well. I am so happy, Efuru." "I don't know whether it is real. Perhaps we are both dreaming." "You are not dreaming. Don't you hear the cry of the baby?" He picked it up. "Welcome, my daughter. Your name is Ogonim." Efuru laughed. "Tell me how it happened." "I was fast asleep. It was just now I heard the cry of a newly born baby. When the pain started, I woke mother and she went for a janopu." "She went all alone? Why did you not wake me?" "We did not want to disturb you." "Go on then, what happened?" "Ajanopu came and after a short time I had the baby. It was just like a child's play." "Wasn't it painful?" "It was, but I don't remember it now that I can see my daughter in your arms. I think God has a way of making mothers forget the pains after the delivery of their babies. If it were not so, I am sure that very few women would want more babies after the first one." It was daybreak now. Neighbors saw Efuru's mother-in-law go into the stream and asked her whether all was well. "Yes, all is well. My daughter has had a baby." "Oh, Risha, thank you. What did she have?" "She had a baby girl." "Good. Oh, Risha, thank you. Efuru is hot. It was only yesterday that she danced with her age group and came back late." "Whoever thought that she was going to have a baby in the night?" one of them said. Every morning, Ajanopu came and attended to the baby. She washed the baby with warm water. When she finished, she would pick up one leg of the baby and say, "Oso, oso, oso." She would pick up the other leg, lift it up in the air and say, "Oso, oso, oso." She would do that to the two hands. Efuru was always afraid when she saw her doing this to her baby. One day she asked her why. "You are children," she said. "If I don't do that to her, she won't grow strong and healthy." "But you can break her hands or legs by doing that. I'm always afraid when you do it." "No, it is impossible for her legs or hands to be broken. Don't fear, my daughter. I did all that to my children." "How many children have you, Ajanopu?" "Hush, we don't ask people how many children they have. It is not done. Children are not goats or sheep or yams to be counted. I will tell you, I conceived 8 times, one died of convulsion." When the baby was 5 days old, Ajanopu told her sister that it was time to put alligator pepper in her mouth so that her tongue will be free. If this was not done, Ajanopu said the baby might be deaf and dumb. So early the next morning, some alligator pepper was brought and Ajanopu chewed it very well and then put it under the tongue of the baby. The baby yelled and yelled. She was quickly breastfed and she stopped crying. "Ajanopu, my daughter will talk like you. I am afraid she will be very talkative." Efuru's mother-in-law teased her sister. "That is all right. Aren't you lucky that I am near to put alligator pepper in her mouth? Who wants to be quiet these days? Don't you know that if you don't lick your mouth, the harmattan will lick it for you? You stay there and talk of being quiet these days." That evening, Efuru complained that her breast was not full. In fact, they were getting dry. She was afraid her baby might die of starvation if there was no milk in her breast. Ajanopu was sent for at once. "It is simple. When I had my first baby, the same thing happened to me. You have to drink plenty of palm wine. Meanwhile, I am going to treat you. She chewed some palm kernels, which she used in rubbing her breast. This will help, she told her kindly. If it has no effect, we shall call in a woman Dibia. She is sure to help you. The woman Dibia was not needed. Efuru was all right. Her breast was full. Both mother and baby were well. Her mother-in-law took great care of mother and child and was very proud of them. Soon, it was 7 market days since Efuru's safe delivery. It was time for her to go out to market and to visit friends. But before she went out, she had to go to the lake and put her feet in the water. On Nkwo Day, she dressed gorgeously and went to the market. When Efuru came back from the market, she told her husband that she would like to go to the Dibia and tell him that she had had her baby and to thank him for everything. It would be a good idea, her husband said. But as you know, you never go empty-handed to play the masquerade. Yes, I know. We have to take along with us some presents. What are you going to give to the Dibia? We shall buy 2 heads of tobacco, kola nuts, and a fowl. Perhaps we shall take some yams also. These would do. When do we go? On Eke Day, after Nkwo, when I shall buy all the things. On Eke Day, the things were put in a basin and Efuru carried it. Her husband followed her with his walking stick. Their mother looked after the baby. When they got to the gate, the Dibia cleared his throat. The daughter of Nwashike Ogene, who is bringing you to my house today. And that's you, Adizwa Ukachukwu. I saw you last the day your father died. You were a mere child then, with smokers running down your nose. Come along and sit down, my children. Thus welcomed, Efuru and Adizwa came in and sat down. Adizwa helped her to put the load down. Njeri, my daughter, bring kola for us. The girl brought some kola. The old Dibia took it. Nwashike Ogene's daughter, to your health. Ogonim, to your health. Efuru pinched her husband. Ukachukwu's son, to your health. Our fathers, have some kola. I have been a Dibia for more than 30 years. I have been upright. Efuru, Adizwa, and the 2 girls said, Ise. I have never caused anyone to die. Ise. I have never prepared poison to kill anybody. That's how it happened, Adizwa and Efuru said. I inherited all my medicines from my father, who inherited them from his father. Ise, they nodded. Our family is upright and fear God. So God see to it that our enemies are crushed. Ise, let Ogonim live long. Ise, let Efuru have one baby until the house is full. Ise, hear us, our fathers. Ise. He broke the kola and frowned with pain. Our fathers forbid, God forbid. God won't agree to this, the old man said all in one breath. Why have I not seen this before? We have only 2 pieces of kola. It is not a good sign, my children. Njeri, bring another kola. Njeri brought another kola. The old man started again. Our father, here is kola. He say, I am upright. He say, I have made people rich, though I am poor myself. It is the will of God that it should be so. In our family we are good, but poor. God has willed that it should be so. Our work is to make others rich and remain poor. The Dibia brought the kola. Again there were only 2 pieces. This is strange. My children, come again on Eke Day when the sun is here. And he indicated the place he meant. Efuru and Adizwa understood the time he meant. We brought this to thank you, our father, Efuru said. Last year, my father and I came to see you, and now, as you know, I have a baby girl. Agondo, thank you. My wife and I have one voice, our father. Thank you, Agondo. but we do not understand what is wrong now. We are blind though we have eyes to see. We are nothing at all. Don't worry, my children. Thank you for your presents. Go home and come back on a K-day. I shall tell you all then. Efuru and her husband went home. Something will go wrong. I can prevent it, but I must be given time. I have seen it, but not clearly yet. Our fathers will help me. I shall sacrifice to them. I shall ask their aid. The Dibia said slowly to himself, as Efuru and Adizwa were leaving his hut. On Nkwo day, a day to the appointed day, Efuru heard that the Dibia was dead. He died in his sleep.